Hey, it's A Drink with Derek here in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. And I'm your host, Derek Richards. By the way, all the episodes of A Drink with Derek can be found on YouTube. Go on YouTube, type in A Drink with Derek, and you'll see all the episodes on there with all kinds of great people. Brad Garrett, Roy Wood Jr., Al Jackson, John Bizarre, a little partial to that guy, as is my guest here today, Nancy Ryan, who is the significant other of John Bizarre. Nancy, comedian here in Las Vegas, from New Jersey originally, performing on Xburlesque at the Flamingo. When it starts back up.
When it starts.
Yeah. I know. Crazy stuff. How are you doing? Yeah, you guys are both doing fantastic. You and your husband. You guys have been crushing it here during this pandemic. I mean, keeping yourselves occupied. I mean, at least on social media, you're coming across like you guys are. You're doing well.
We're doing well. I mean, we're fortunate in a lot of ways that he and I actually like each other. So that kind of takes the pressure off living in close quarters with somebody that you want to fucking kill, so it's good. We don't have any of that. And we get along great. He does, give each other a lot of space, and, it works out.
Well, you have to during this. I mean, even the best relationships are under, it's a pressure cooker. It's a vice because you can't go out and do what you want to do. You can't exist the way you normally do. You can't go out to work as we used to know it, at least for comedians. So yeah, when you're in the same house and you're confined to quarters, I mean, you both enjoy cooking.
Yeah.
And you guys are machines. I sit there and I watch the stuff. You're a phenomenal cook. I mean, from what John has told me and from what I have seen on your social media stuff and stuff that I've made that you told me about,
oh,
you're an incredible cook. And I see the stuff that you post on Instagram while I'm eating a bowl of ramen noodles going, wow, that looks way better than this bullshit that I'm eating right now.
Well, it's, we take a lot of good pictures, but no, the food is mostly good. Wow, I look really bloated. Okay, so, but the food is normally pretty good, and I like trying new things. And yeah, I mean, the thing I've loved to make lately is sweet potato gnocchi with a brown butter sage sauce.
Damn. Oh, that sounds fantastic.
It's so good.
Oh my God.
It takes like 4 hours to make and 15 minutes to eat.
Yeah, I know, right? That's the worst. The stuff you spend all this time preparing and it just gets wiped out in about 3 seconds.
It's true.
Did you get that from on the East Coast in New Jersey from your parents, your love for cooking and being around family, or did you pick that up when you were single and on the road doing this?
Well, first of all, actually, I'm from Connecticut.
My apologies. I thought you were from Jersey. I am sorry about that.
No, it's quite all right. After I was doing comedy about a year, because I started in Connecticut, after about a year, I moved to New Jersey and then, did the rest of my career there until I moved here. But
now, you've been out here in Vegas now for how long now?
15 years.
Okay, wow. Now right now you're on Expertlesque at the Flamingo. Before we get into that, which is a great gig, I've seen you on it. You're fantastic. What is going back in all the years you've been doing comedy, the worst comedy experience or the worst gig that you can think of off the top of your head?
Oh my God. In 28 years, that's really hard to pick.
I know. I get asked that question from friends, and it's like, you want me to narrow it down to just one or two?
Somebody anonymously posted on my Facebook page about 10 years ago, Nancy, you get all the easy gigs, very sarcastically saying. And whoever it was knew me from years ago because I would take these impossible gigs. And it was like a challenge, I guess, somewhat for me to do it. So as far as like the worst, oh my God, there was a strip club in Phillipsburg, New Jersey, which was bordering Pennsylvania. And it was an all nude strip club, that place. And you would have to go on every hour on the hour for 10 minutes. And it was a backwoods, all nude strip club where like the woman that ran the snack bar.
at an Eagles game came in here and picked up money on the side.
No kidding. So this woman, first of all, she had a daughter who was a dancer. The daughter is dancing nude. And then after the daughter would dance, she would walk around the pit. She would take baseball hats off the guy's head and slide it between her legs and put it back on the guy's. This is the kind of place it was. And the mother who ran the snack bar, she was rotund. She was a perfect, like, orb. Okay.
Sure.
And she wore this Wonder Woman bodysuit. And you have to imagine like Betty Davis in the Golden Girls, or no, Betty White.
Betty White.
In the Golden Girls with the hair, that hair. She had that hair, Wonder Woman bodysuit. And she would walk around and she would pick up beer cans from all the tables and put them, stack them one on top of another between her boobs and walk back to the snack bar and then throw them in the garbage. But then what would happen on like a Saturday, bachelor parties would come in and a guy would like pay her $5 to go up to the bachelor. I hear you're getting married. She would take her boob, put her fist behind it, and punch the guy in the face with her tit. And she got $5 for that. And if she didn't bloody his nose, she would just keep punching him with her left boob because she was a righty. So it was the left boob that went in his face. She had to have been about 60 years old.
See, now this is under your worst comedy experience. This would be under my best.
Yeah.
Pathetic.
You didn't have to go up there.
Man.
Guy is bleeding out of the nose because he just got punched in the face with a tit. Welcome, Nancy Ryan. Oh, this would be good. It was one of the girls, her big famous move was to jump in the air. She's totally nude, jump in the air, come down in a split, and it would make a bang when she would hit. She was hitting the floor like a wrestler would do. But I was like, oh my God, she just killed her vagina. He just smacked her fucking vagina on the floor. And she's getting up now. She's getting up. It's bruised again.
That's impressive. Yeah, and then you got to do 10 minutes on the hour with this train wreck going on behind you. Oh my God.
That was a
now,
bad.
you put up some good drinking numbers early on in your life. You and I talked about this a while ago, and you quit drinking very, very early on. And when you were how old?
23, almost 23.
Wow.
I just turned 23.
Yeah.
Yeah. By
10
10
I remember telling you, I said, well, you put up Babe Ruth numbers at in like 3 years in the league, which is impressive.
I went full bore.
Wow. What was your best drunk story? Hang on, wait, don't tell me. You punched a guy in the face with your tit.
That was me. That was me. I bet you that fucker's at a meeting talking about it today.
You did it first, and then you quit, and then the mom took over after you got done.
Yeah, she took a lesson from me.
No, what was the if you go back and people can look at this in two ways. When you say best drunk story or worst drunk story, right. I guess take it either way, whichever direction you want to go in. What will be the story that was your tipping point? Okay, well,
there were many stories that were a tipping point. It was like each one just got more embarrassing, more scary. It was the 80s, and so cocaine was also involved in with the alcohol. Every day, all day. I mean, it didn't end. It was like a 4-year bender. It really was. With a few days here and there, that would be, but there was once where it was the middle of February. I was a bartender at this restaurant on the water at Long Island Sound in Connecticut. February, it's minus whatever degrees freezing. Got so drunk after our shift with the rest of the guy. They were like, I dare you to go into that water. Come on, I dare you. Not for any money, not for a ticket to a baseball game in the spring. Nothing. It was like, I dare you. And so it's things like that. Yeah, you dare me, I'll show you. And there I am walking fully dressed, walking in the middle of February, walking into Long Island Sound in sub-zero waters, but I've got alcohol in me, so I didn't get hypothermia.
Of course not.
Stuff like that. But it's like, I came out of there and it was like icicles forming on my eyebrows. It was really, so it was like things like that, one after another that would happen. There was even like one of the scarier times where, you're so hyped up and you're looking for that next, drink or, drug or whatever it is. And there's nothing around. And a guy, this one really bad guy who's still in prison to this day, from what I hear, he asked me to do him a favor. And he goes, and if you do me the favor, he goes, I'll give you one line of Coke. One. Okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Well, yeah. And he goes, all right, you're going to drive down, take my car. You're going to drive down the street to, Jefferson Street. Okay. He goes, on the side of the road, he goes, you're going to see a pack of Newports. He goes, I want you to pick up the Newports, put them in the glove compartment, and get back here. Don't talk to anybody. Don't look at anybody. Just do it and come back. He goes, and if anybody stops you, he goes, have you ever worked a gun? And I was like, what the? No. No, I haven't, sir. And he's like, let me show you real quick how to work this gun, just in case. Shows me, and I'm so messed up, and I'm like, I'm going to get a line out of this. I may get shot.
Nothing better than a quick gun tutorial from a cokehead. Perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And as I'm driving there to where he wants to be, and it was like a 2-minute ride. As I get there, I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing? Shoot if somebody comes up to me? What? And, here I was training to be a professional skater and, a competitor. And I'm driving around to get Coke with a gun in the glove compartment and shoot and ask questions later. And that was one of the hardcore points where I was like, I don't think I want to live this life, and somebody else grabbed me that day and said, Nancy, you are who you're becoming. And I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
You are who you're becoming. And that really changed everything for me.
Now, were you doing comedy at the time?
No, I was probably like 21 at the time. I was still skating.
Usually comedy jacks people up.
Mm-hmm.
You got all this under your belt, and then you started doing this?
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Now, when you started doing comedy, I mean, obviously this business is obvious. It's ripe with every vice out there. Mm-hmm. Booze, drugs, whatever. I mean, how are you able to maintain balance in your life to kind of keep that away from you when you kind of step away from that scene, but now you're around people that are doing this all the time?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For me, it's not an option anymore. And that's like a phrase that's stuck in my head. It's not an option. It's like, if I choose that option, I know what's on the other side of it immediately. Like, right. There won't be a warm-up period. There won't be like, let's have fun for a couple of days. It's like, no. Chances are, very high chances, I take the option to do it, I'm going to jail. I'm going to, be dead, something. So I have to look at it that seriously, because at the end of those days, that's where it had brought me. So that's exactly where it would take off again. It's not going to reset itself.
No, exactly. I mean, now, were there people that you ran with back then that ended up kind of cleaning up their path, or are they in jail or dead now? Well,
that guy with the gun thing, he right. Went to prison.
Right.
But
I mean, like other friends of yours that you were hanging with at the time, I mean, did they kind of straighten themselves out, or had you just lost track of them?
I've lost track. There's one I have, and he's still a raging alcoholic. I think he's living in Florida somewhere.
Right.
Yeah, he was a bartender too. But yeah, it's I lost track of everybody. You know, and the help that I sought out. You know, you have to change people, places, and things. One of the things they told, and I took it seriously. I had to, you know. And, you know, a lot of people, even to this day, it's been 33 and a half years I've been sober, and still people, oh, you're fine. You can have a drink, right? You can have, it's New Year's Eve, have a glass. No, I can't do it, you know?
Well, you just got to respect people that make that decision. I mean, if you're like, hey, if somebody doesn't know you and like, hey, you want a drink? You're like, no, I'm good. It's like,
Right.
well, leave people alone. Don't be a douchebag. You know, she said no.
Yeah.
You know, no is no. I'm not going to have a beer. I'm not going to have a glass of wine. I'm not going to have anything. I'm cool. I'm good. I'll have a cup of coffee with you. I'll have a, you know, soda water or something. But yeah, I don't need to get lit up. Now you started comedy in Connecticut.
Yeah.
And you at Treehouse, right? Treehouse Comedy.
Mm-hmm.
You started there, and then obviously you were working the coast, and so many great comedians from up in that neck of the woods. Who was there? Anybody that kind of took you in and saw your potential and said, you know, I'd like us to work together?
Yeah, there was. I was really lucky in those beginning years because in Connecticut at the Treehouse, it was a huge open mic community. Johnny Rizzo, this great comedian, was the one that pushed me up there at first. By the time I moved to Jersey, I was still like just a year in. Oh, no, wait, I was still in Connecticut, but I was waitress at the Treehouse. I was a cocktail waitress. So I would meet these comedians coming in, and, you know, if they saw me on an open mic or I got to know somebody, they'd be like, you know, well, you know, you want to drive from Connecticut to Baltimore and work 6 shows for $50? Yeah. You know, $50 for 6 shows? Yeah. You know, and so I was able to do that.
By the way, that's the same money they pay today.
I'm sure. Just horrible. Oh my God. But that group was Bob Levy.
Oh, I love Bob.
Me too. Great guy. Jim Florentine, Jim Norton, Rich Voss, Eric McMahon. That was the group that they looked after me. They abused me. You know, yeah, it was constant. And you know, I think even to this day they probably do. And it's fine. I learned so much from those guys. And I have, you know, like Levy really threw me to the wolves in a sense in some of those gigs back there on the East Coast. Some of them,
but you learn a lot doing those things. I mean, you know, when you're thrown into the fire, I mean, you learn instantly what you can and can't get away with, how you should and should not approach certain crowds and stuff like that. And so, yeah, you learn a ton. You do. Now, did you start because you do on Xburlesque, you know, the meat of your act is doing crowd work.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely brilliant at it. You do a wonderful, wonderful job. Funny as hell. And I know you're super humble. That's why you're putting your head down. Now, did you start doing that early on, or was that something that you developed because of situations like, say, Bob Levy threw you into this volcano and you're like, oh shit, what am I going to do? My material's not working. Let me go ahead and start, you know, talking with the crowd. How did you put that together?
Well, you nailed it. That's pretty much what it was. And a lot of those gigs in the firehouse, they would do them in firehouses and basements, and you know, you're dealing with just about anything you can imagine. And I would watch those guys, how they would come back at the crowd. And Bob was really great at it. Voss was really good at it. And then back in Jersey, this guy, Frank Del Pizzo, was really good at it. And that's where I learned and started doing within the first, like, probably in the second year, I started working the crowd. and it just became everything,
Now, what advice would you have for somebody who's starting out, who wants to do what you do? What's the best teaching tool or tools that you could say to somebody who wants to be a crowd work comedian?
Well, I think that if somebody did ask me that, the thing is, you have to be really sure of where you want to go. I think, like if I really had this thing about being a star with a sitcom and, I was going to be this multimillionaire, very famous comedian, I probably would have built up something different, but I wasn't that way. I knew that I enjoyed being in a live situation. Nightclub, give me a smoky room and a low ceiling, and that's where I thrive. And I would make sure that that person knew that it's going to be a little bit tougher if you haven't established, the way some other comedians have, like, they have a very clear POV, point
Right.
of view. And it's like, I don't give a shit. Who cares what I think? I'm here to have a good time and for you to have a good time.
Right.
I've taken a lot of crap for it over the years, a lot of crap, especially working in clubs with 2 other comics on the show. But I would tell that person just to be very sure of what you want. It's a great skill set to have in your pocket in case you need it. But if you're going to become that comedian, then you really have to think about where you want to go.
What kind of crap were you getting from other people on the show?
I got to follow that. Are you kidding?
Right.
That was a lot. Nancy, just do your act. But it is my act. It's like,
right.
Yeah, just do your act. Don't talk to them too much. Don't even say hi to them. Just go up and do your. They're constantly for years.
Sure.
And I don't, looking back, I don't blame them. But I'm in the right spot now.
No, exactly. I mean, and obviously certain situations where if someone's going up after you and you're talking to the crowd and it ends up being, a bunch of drunken idiots.
And I'm stirring them up.
Oh, yeah, you're stirring up the pot, and all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, we can talk to the comedian. This is the interactive hour." And then the guy goes up after you, and they don't shut the hell up, and you're like, "Okay, here we go. Someone just dropped off a big box of knives in the prison rec yard."
Yes.
And the Crips and the Bloods can just start grabbing them and stabbing each other. So,
yeah, there was a lot of that. I don't think I made a whole lot of friends. And that's okay. I'm okay now.
Hey, well, you've taken that skill set and parlayed it into a great gig now at Xburlesque at the Flamingo.
Mm-hmm.
And to the people that don't understand what that is, when you say a comedian on a burlesque show, what that started back, we're going way back to what, vaudeville?
Yeah, definitely.
When a comedian would come out as a break for the dancers in between while they're changing costumes and so forth. And I mean, so many brilliant comics through the years. I mean, your Don Rickles, I think Joan Rivers was on it, working on burlesque shows too. And that is a rough, and I filled in a couple times for your husband on a couple shows. And that is a different animal. That is, here's a bunch of smoking hot women dancing topless. And now all of a sudden, let's hit the brakes and bring out this 50-plus-year-old divorced Irish dickhead. Go. And it's so for people that don't understand that, I mean, you and John, your husband, John Bazar he did a great, I watched him and that was a great tutorial and I had seen you and it's just, you come out swinging.
Yeah.
You're not easing into it. There's no foreplay. It's just, we are going at it now because they don't give a shit about seeing you. How did that work? How did that gig start for you here in Vegas? How long have you been doing Xburlesque now?
12 years.
Wow.
12 years. 5 nights a week for 12 years. I'm lucky. I'm really fortunate.
Impressive. How did that come about? Did the producers of Xburlesque, did they see you at a club or how did they find out about you or how did you connect with them?
Yeah, when I first moved here, I did a couple of shows at a place. They saw me, they knew me from there. But what happened was The original comedian was Pudgy.
Yeah.
The incredible comedian, singer, just great entertainer. Actually, her son, Anthony, is the choreographer and manager of X now. So it's kind of cool.
No kidding.
Yeah, it's a very close family. It's really, of people. Anyway, Pudgy had passed away. And I think that they were using different comedians on the show at that time. And then I got a call. Can you, Nancy, can you come in and just we need you to do 12 minutes. I'm like, okay. And I remember running downstairs to tell John. John and I weren't even a couple yet, but we were living together.
Right.
And I told him I was very excited. I got really dressed up and I did my hair and I went down there, and it was rodeo week, I think, or NASCAR week. And it was like a magical kill, because I had at that point nothing to lose. I had nothing.
Right.
So I went full out and killed. And then they said, can you come back tomorrow? And I said, sure. Went back and it was the same thing, another magical night. And then they just handed me a contract and that was it.
That is so cool. See, my immediate reaction when you saw I put my hand over my face and you said, it's NASCAR week. I'm like, oh no. Now I'm having flashbacks to your Phillipsburg, New Jersey gig.
Right.
I'm going, oh no, here it comes. Some guy's going to get a black eye with a tit.
Right.
And I'm like, oh my God. But that's super, super cool that worked out the way that it did.
Yeah. I'm really, really fortunate. And after 12 years, those guys are really like family to me and to John. We would do just about anything for them, No,
the Stabiles, who are fantastic people, like I said, and I've filled in for, John a couple of times on X Rocks and X Country, and they run the X franchise. Mm-hmm. And yeah, they put on fantastic shows, very well choreographed. I mean, the production value, the music, I mean, everything is just spot on. And they just do a really, really fantastic job putting that stuff together. Yeah. What is it easier? Would you say it's easier or harder for a woman to be a comedian on a burlesque show as opposed to a guy?
I don't know.
It's a little less jarring for the audience to see a female comedian come out as opposed to a dude.
I don't know if there's any difference.
Okay.
I really don't.
Right.
I think if you have the chops and you know what you're facing, right. I don't think there's a difference, because a guy can go out there and it's like, oh God, a guy, we're just looking at women. But I come out, I'm 50 something years old, overweight. And, here I come with my happy ass out of the curtain. And so I've got that to deal with, so it's kind of the same. It's all a matter of how do you open, how do you command the stage, and where do you take it from there? Really?
Well, now, the show that is involved, I mean, obviously everything here in Vegas as we talk now is on hiatus.
Yeah.
Has there been discussion, I'm sure there's been plenty of discussion, post COVID-19, once these shows come back, where they still talk about the social distancing and having multiple performers on stage? Because, Xburlesque is once in a while, there's some solo performances that happen, but a lot of times there's a number of girls on stage that are all close together. They're either, in a bathtub pouring water on each other, whatever. I mean, and I do that with comic buddies of mine all the time. I mean, that's just a routine Tuesday for me. But has there been discussion on how this is going, what these shows are going to look like post-COVID once things come back and until things completely loosen up?
Right. Well, I know that there's a certain number that's in Xburlesque where they pull up a guy onto the stage and then they do this whole, dance around him and everything. Right. Like that. And, I think that they are taking measures to change that up, to keep the number, but maybe keep the guy in the audience and do something with a camera so it's showing up on the screen, his reaction or whatever.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And as far as like the other guidelines. I think that they're waiting to hear more about how to reopen safely, in these showrooms, until they get a very clear guideline. I think they're kind of
changes hourly. So.
Right. Exactly. So they're in a holding pattern, but it's, yeah, and it's crazy just waiting to hear anything from the governor that says, and the entertainers, it's like, come on, we make up so much of this city.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty jarring. I mean, anybody that you talk to outside of Vegas, I'm sure it's the same for you with, family and friends back home where they're like, how is it out there?
Mm-hmm.
And you say the same thing to everybody. You're like, it sucks. There's nothing going on.
Right.
You can't go see a show. Like, oh, can you gamble? Well, yeah, you can gamble, but you can gamble anywhere in the country. There's casinos all over the place.
Right.
But there's only one city that has multiple burlesque shows, concerts all the time and just everything. So it's crazy. Speaking of the craziness of the COVID-19 and all the other stuff that's swirling around with racial unrest, you have done a incredible job of staying away from the throwdowns on social media. And everybody knows all these people that just lose their minds about whatever. You have done a brilliant job of and we were talking about this before we started recording. There's anybody I know that has an ill word to say about you or your husband. You guys do a really great job of just being class acts all the time. And I'm not just saying that because we're here talking. That's just the honest to God truth. What do you do to get, because I know you're on Facebook. I know you're on social media. I know you read stuff. How do you hit the suppressor to not just jump in and just want to kill somebody?
It's called the delete button.
See, people, that's how easy it is.
It is. Well,
I know.
And a friend of both of ours, I don't know if she would want me to say her name. I wrote this post, and I can't even remember what the post was about. And she wrote a really funny joke, but under it, these yahoos start coming in and making the post political. I deleted it. I deleted the post. And then here I am spending 25 minutes texting our friend going, I deleted it, but it had nothing to do with you. And blah, 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 because I don't care. I don't care what your opinion is. I think you're conservative. I'm a liberal. Who cares?
Right.
Really, if you feel that you can back up your opinion in some form, don't do it on Facebook. Don't do it on social media, because you know why? People are taking things and twisting it into their own agenda. And half the time it comes out making you look like an asshole. It's that.
True.
Yeah.
You're right.
I know. So I delete people. I remove posts if I have to, because I'm not up for it. I'm not up for it. This is tough enough right now.
I agree. It's you see people just flat out losing their minds. And I was talking to a good friend of mine. He goes, remember the days you could just have a conversation with somebody and they would agree with you on something or disagree with you, and you go, you're full of shit. And they go, you're an asshole. And then you go, want a beer? Yeah, let's get a beer. Let's get some beer. Right. I mean, now it's like, you're a douchebag, you're an asshole, and I'm going to find you with a baseball bat. It's like the rage response meter has just gone to the moon.
To the moon. Absolutely. And, it's, even though like I can sit here like with you one-on-one and discuss politics, I'm not good under pressure with it.
Right.
I don't know what that's about. I could talk my way out of a paper bag on stage, but don't make politics the subject, because I'll be like, oh, I'm like, you're right. You know what? You are right. I just can't do it. So I try to avoid it.
No, which is a smart thing to do. And it's and that couldn't be a more perfect lead-in to the last thing I'm going to throw at you here. Only because you just said politics. This is beautiful. No, this is going to be great. You are a brilliant crowd work person, which means you have to be fast on the fly. You've got to think quickly. Here's what I want you to do. And I know you are a little more liberal, but I want you to put together a 20-second sales pitch.
20 seconds?
For each of the presidential candidates. And by that, I mean Trump, Biden, and Kanye, not all at the same time. I'm going to throw a name out. You tell me in 20 seconds, however you want to do this, 20 seconds, why I need to vote for that person.
20 seconds?
20 to 30 seconds.
30 seconds? How about 10 seconds?
10 seconds works too. And listen, brevity is always key.
Is anybody timing it?
And everything. You can go 10 seconds. That's totally cool. So let me throw the first one at you. Let's go with let's go with Kanye out of the gate. Why should I vote for him, Nancy?
You gotta vote for Kanye. He's not gonna hurt the country. He's got an endless supply of Latuda. And then I would have like a guy going, please, contact your doctor if you plan on voting for Kanye and taking Latuda.
All right.
Okay, that wasn't, for 10.
That'll work. That's as logical of a reason why I should vote for him that I've heard.
He's got Latuda. We're set.
Next one, Joe Biden.
Oh my God. Joe Biden. Oh my God. He's all the Democrats have got. Vote for Joe Biden. See, if I speak as slowly as Joe Biden, I can cover the 20 seconds you want. Vote for Joe Biden. Thank God for Kamala Harris. I don't know.
Okay. Last one. Here we go. Incumbent Trump. Go.
Dear God, help us all, but vote for Trump 2020. Let's see. Vote for Trump 2020. And then I'd be like, he's going to save America, but I'd have a subliminal message underneath going, our country is fucked. Don't do it. Don't do it. Save yourself. Save your children. And it would, I don't know. That would also, I don't know what
these messages are approved by all of the above candidates.
Indeed.
Nancy, you are awesome. I'm so happy for your success, and I'm hoping that everything gets back to normal here soon. Xburlesque at the Flamingo is where you can see Nancy Ryan on the show when it cranks back up here, hopefully sooner rather than later. And again, you're a brilliant comedian and just a great person altogether. And again, I wish you nothing but success. And I cannot thank you enough for coming on here today. And I'll have a drink. Hey, I got this. I got the mug out for you because I know you live near Asbury Park. So
I almost thought about but I do have my Rascals T-shirt. Which
nice!
Isn't that great? Look how retro. And
that is so cool. Huge club chain in New Jersey. They had a brief one down in Florida for a little bit too.
They did, yeah, in Boca, right?
Oh my, yeah, down down Boca Raton near I think close towards Miami. But yeah, that was too funny. Thanks so much for being on, darling. You're fantastic. You're the best.
You are too, Derek. Thank you so much.